Now, again, to be honest, I had no real interest in debunking this here, but actually rewatching it and looking at it carefully, yeah, let's talk about this real quick here because this kind of should have been simple. So, when it comes down to how this death battle was, and then I am going to talk about the fallout from this here in a much more briefer video. I even got blocked by one of my friends, but let's talk about Kratos' information real quick here. Kratos' information is substantially way more detailed than Asura's. Like, did y'all not realize that here? And yet, in some of the little brackets in the corner, which they hope you don't see, in all honesty, they said Asura also had a manga, which is true, but again, it's, not as well known, so people just don't tend to use it here. But again, it really feels like they did not try to explain much for Asura in this video here, or try to give any amount of detail for it. There was no explanation on Naraka, the many infinite realities that, are in it here, and the sheer fact that both in his fight with Chakravartin, in his base form, mind you, or maybe his mantra form as well here, he was able to shatter multiple realities. Now, when it came to Asura, they also kind of left out a little bit context about his Asura the Destructor form, where he does absorb the energy of Chakravarti in order to become that big. But again, I guess, they were going to give it to him anyway, so I'm really not going to, what is it? What's the word I'm looking for? Pick at the fact that they gave him his form here. They were going to do it anyway. And it is pretty interesting how they did give Asura a little bit, I guess you could say, of a speed advantage as well here. But we'll talk about that once we get towards the end of this video here, because again, Asura is faster than Kratos here. But the thing about it is here, there was really no statements about Naraka, and how it was a realm between life and death. They don't really talk about how Chakravartin detailed the cosmology, how he was Samsara, or also known as the Will of Life. They just said that he was the creator of the cosmology. And then they also scaled his size, weight, and then the density of gold. Like, huh? So we're adding the properties of gold to a deity that just doesn't care about the concepts in general, and got that to universal. Again, I'm not sure how these calculations really work anymore. It's just absolutely ridiculous at this point here. Now, let's discuss some things. Could Kratos make a spear the size of a planet? No, he cannot. He does not have that kind of magic anymore. Could he do this whole spear volley? No, he cannot. He does not have that kind of magic here. Now, I understand they said, well, we wanted to be a little unrestricted from the game mechanics. The game actually explains why they can't do this kind of stuff. There's a limited amount of magic when it comes to certain beings here. Now, when it came to the actual battle analysis and breakdown here, it felt like they tried to actually undersell Asura and be like, well, since Asura can do this, there's no reason why Kratos can't do this. I mean, he's fought in beings that could beat beings that can beat these beings that do that. You guys get what I mean here? It's like, well, he scales above guys who beat this guy, who beat this guy, who beat this guy, who beat this guy, who beat this guy's cousin. If you guys get the reference, just let me know down below. And so when it came down to like the final analysis here, it was just like, how are they equal in certain things? Now, speed was equal, despite the sheer fact that Chakravartin's laser was much substantially faster than Kratos' primordial shockwaves. How do you give somebody equal speed when there is a clear gap here? There is a 13 million or a 13 quadrillion difference between Asura's speed and Kratos's. Asura should be able to speed abuse Kratos during the fight here. But again, that's nothing here or there. Experience definitely went to Asura, and versatility obviously went to Kratos. As I explained in my Deathbattle prelude, Kratos has way too many hacks and abilities with just 3 weapons alone, plus the World Serpent's Venom here. And again, I am happy that they did know that. It is a god killer or a healing factor negation from the World Serpent's Venom. And then obviously the Blade of Olympus just, is an instant GG for anybody here. But again, getting into the scale in general, it it really felt like they scaled Asura based on what was there rather than digging deeper. There was no references of Naraka, like I said earlier. There's no references to the will of life and how the Buddhism of the cosmology ties into it. And again, yes, they did give Kratos most of his Norse mythology, which again is basically stated within the game. The same as Chakravartin's is also stated within the game here. Even though Yggdrasil would actually be a multiversal feat, again, I'm lowballing it here just to kind of keep everything simple. Rather than getting this unbelievably, overly atrocious calc just for a simple universe. Again, this is why people don't like power scaling. And I'm starting to understand it here because y'all overdo some things that are just very simple. However, here's one thing, right? I actually had my little bit of own controversy with someone I thought was a friend here. But here are my arguments for both against the Kratos community and against the Asura community, which are lowballing both characters here. So check it out. Alright, so check this out, y'all. This whole God of War, Kratos versus Asura thing has really just gotten out of hand here. And the funny part is, I just got blocked by a mutual, someone I thought that we were cool with. Now, sure, I've corrected him, in one video about Scorpion versus Wolverine, why, using the heated clause is actually a bad thing here. But the sheer fact that he made a video about me and then blocked me on top of it, which is crazy here. And considering the sheer fact that I stated that this is not possible, or at least half of the stuff in this video is impossible here. Asura the Destructor should not be used, because again, that is an outside power-up, and Kratos can't do the giant spear thing because he literally stated this.
Brother, I've been meaning to ask. Your homeland. I'd heard the gods there wielded every flavor of power you could imagine. Lightning, fire, the whole lot.
As did I, for many years.
Oh, any chance you could recall some of that magic?
No, I have tried.
Freya said magic is bound to the earth. When your homeland died, your powers probably went with it.
Well, probably for the best. Let the past stay in the past and all that.
So, as you guys saw, Kratos legit stated that the magic from his realm died, which is why he can't use it. Even though, again, I do think he should be able to use the Claws of Hades, but again, that is for another video. But again, he should be able to use the giant magic of the Greek gods here, as they would scale to the primordials, and the primordials are capable of dwarfing even stars here. Now, one of the few arguments I've actually seen, which is very dumb by a lot of even higher content creators here, is the sheer fact that Kratos needed power-ups to actually beat just about everybody in his games here, when again the first game he was mortal. But hey, ain't this your boy real quick? But nah, nobody wants to talk about the sheer fact that his daughter was giving him power-ups throughout the entirety of this game here. But wait a minute, didn't he need an extra core plus Yasha's to be Chakravartin?
Take this. It is the heart of the Karma Fortress that had accumulated 7 trillion souls worth of mantra. The mantra reactor. Pride, lust, greed, sloth, vanity, violence, melancholy, and wrath. These are the mantra that govern the world. Now that all the mantra has been used, it is powerless alone. But it is more than enough to serve as a vessel for your life. The pride of the 7 deities. I give it to you. Take it. Do not be mistaken. I am not saving you. You must face even greater hell than this! Ah! Get up, Asura. It's time to reclaim Mithra and end this.
Now, the sheer fact that people are mentioning this without mentioning Asura stuff here is very hypocritical at best here. Also, another thing that my former mutual actually pointed out was that Kratos lost to an Egyptian monster here. Because again, people want to point out like, oh, he lost to some hippo. Does that look like a normal animal to you? We definitely know that ain't normal, like, at all here. And this is, fresh out of Greek Kratos as well here. But considering the sheer fact in every Kratos in God of War video, I have literally stated he does not scale to the Egyptian nor the Aztec or Japanese pantheons, I think this cements my point further. He is not fighting someone like Apophis, Sekhmet, or Ra. He literally could not beat one of their own creatures. And again, I've stated before that the Egyptian pantheon is above the Greek and the Norse pantheons. Okay? And the sheer fact that he lost to an Egyptian creature that needed Egyptian gods in order to be able to kill cements my point even further. Alright? Then let's talk about one of the dumbest controversies I've actually seen with this here. And the sheer fact that he was killed by a hammer. What? Oh, so we just disrespecting Thor here, right? Saying that, oh, well, he was just killed by a hammer, was killed by blunt force trauma. By somebody who's able to fracture and splinter a fifth dimensional construct? I mean, I find this very interesting here because people will say this for God of War Thor, but if this was Marvel Comics Thor, y'all would not be saying the same thing. Y'all be talking about every feat that Mjolnir has here. But the funny part about it is here, y'all want to give Asura everything else about it here. Why don't y'all treat both characters fairly? Pretty much what I've done here like multiple times here, but hey, it is what it is here, and actually give them the credit where credit is due. Do I think Kratos wins? Yes, I do here, because again, he still has a lot of magic left in him from the Norse realms here, but again, he gets it done high difficulty, the same as Asura. And again, the winning trope he has here is the Blade of Olympus, which is an instant GG for any god. And again, I'm going to have to emphasize this here, just because Asura has flashier feats does not make him more powerful here. You could do something that looks spectacular and incredible, but it could mean very little in terms of someone who has a lot more detail and a lot more backing into their feats than the person you're representing. Peace. See, it's the fact that people kept saying Kratos needed help, acting like Asura didn't have his here, or that Asura was just simply weak, when again, his cosmology scales ridiculously high. And again, here's the thing, right? Asura does have flashier feats, meaning his feats look more impressive here, but that does not make Kratos any less powerful. Is God of War more grounded than Asura's Wrath? Yes, and this is because of their respective franchise. Capcom is crazy. Let's just be real here. If we've seen the Monster Hunter games, Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, and obviously Devil May Cry and Resident Evil, Capcom goes all out when it comes to the stuff they want to add. They hold nothing back here, and that is one of the few reasons why people love their games. Monster Hunter doesn't hold back. Devil May Cry definitely doesn't hold back. Resident Evil, when it comes to the amount of blood, gore, and violence and the lore of the game, does not hold back. They don't sugarcoat it here. Mega Man and Darkstalkers as well. They don't hold anything back when it comes to these franchises here. And again, one of the very few things that makes God of War its own thing as well is the fact that it's grounded. It's interesting. It's loved by all because of how grounded and how stable it is. Now, yes, first 3 games, let's be real, they was out of pocket. I mean, in a good way, But again, at the end of the day here, y'all have to show these characters their due respect. They both can get to multiversal. They both can get to hyperversal. They both can get to outerversal respectively here. But y'all should not be trying to lowball one character just because he lost to the other. Do I think Kratos beats Asura? Yes, but I also think Asura beats Kratos. Okay? So, at the end of the day, both these characters can win. But again, the results here are not wrong. How they get to these results is wrong here. Asura barely had any form of details given to him here. And it's unfortunate. But again, it's what we kind of expect at this point from Deathbattle. But that's going to be all today, you guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.